What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back. Today, I'm here to talk about poetry. Let's get it.
Favorite reader, that's who you are. Traveling near, traveling far. Through every chapter, you're the star. Favorite reader, that's who you are.
Okay, so I'm going over 5 different poetry collections that I have here. Let's just jump into it in no particular order. I hope I'm in the middle. Okay, let's just jump into it in no particular order. So first let's start with The Panther and the Lash by Langston Hughes. So this is a poetry collection I feel like a lot of people are familiar with. It has the poem Dream Deferred in it. Heavily talks about freedom and talks about race in America. It talks about the contradiction of freedom in America, about being a black man, about identity. So much. And then, of course, we have American Heartbreak, which is I Am the American Heartbreak, the rock on which freedom stumped its toe, the greatest mistake that Jamestown made long ago. This was actually, I've read this before. So out of all of these, this is the only one that was a reread. I read this years and years ago, probably in high school, maybe in high school. I can't remember, but around that time, like high teenage time. And I remember like the poems that I really liked were the short, punchy ones. The ones like I just said, like American Heartbreak. I really like Dream Deferred. This time around, I actually pulled some poems out of here to read aloud to my sons. I had them read a few, and they've had to memorize certain Langston Hughes poems for like school. So they had to memorize Dream Deferred, and a few more.
Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
Attacks and splinters and birds turn up in places no carpet on the floor bare. But all the time I've been climbing on, and weeds and landed and turning corners.
And sometimes going in the dark, where there ain't no light. So boy, don't you fall now. Don't you sit on them steps, 'cause you find it's kinda hard. For I's still going. I's still climbing, honey. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
So they were already familiar with who this was. And it was just so many I wanted to share. So many that I liked and I have marked. I like Ghost of 1619. I like Elderly Leaders. What else? Of course, I said American Heartbreak, Longview Negro. Like that one a lot. Dinner Guest Me. Like that one a lot. Very Colored Song. Like that a lot. And there was one more that I really liked. And I don't think I paid much attention to. Junior Addict. That one I really liked this time, and I don't remember that one from the first time I read it. I don't know if I skipped it that was a long time ago when I was like a teenager, but I really didn't remember that one at all. It wasn't even familiar, and it was so good. I didn't read this one to my sons, but I did read it again and again. Like sometimes when I'm reading poetry, I like to read it in my head, just notice like what I'm seeing on a page, what stands out. But then I also like to read it out loud again to see just how the words sound when they come out, like what I like pick up on or where my voice naturally inflects and what words kind of stand out and pop out the most. And that's what happened when reading this. So yeah, if you haven't read it, it's a classic. Highly recommend this. I recommend this book a lot. And that's kind of why I wanted to reread it, because I knew it wouldn't take that much, but it's a short read, but it packs a punch. And like I said, I was rereading these over and over. So I'm always recommending this for sure. Next, which this like got shouted out in this book, which is Outlandish Blues by Honore Jeffers. This one was actually dedicated to, it says, for Mama and Mr. Langston Hughes, poet laureate of the blues. Yeah, I know that's right. I had a few favorites in here. I love the Battered Blues and Four Movements. That one was about domestic violence, about identity, fleeing, finding freedom and value. I liked Day Clean a lot. Unidentified female student, former slave. I like that one a lot. And I really like Aretha at Frame Studios, which is like a tribute to Aretha Franklin. And during that time, like artists, R&B artists and soul artists were going to record with this all-white band down in the South. And it was controversy around it because people was like, look, there's black bands that's just as good. Why are y'all going down there? And it's interesting because I literally just read last month both of Aretha Franklin's her autobiography and her biography, and they were mentioned in both of them, like her going to record down there at Muscle Shoals in Alabama. But yeah, this one was really good. This is the first poetry collection I've read by this author, and I really enjoyed it. This book is broken up into different parts. It talks about a lot of biblical stuff, specifically like more so women of the Bible, like Hagar, Sarah, and Lot's wife, and then what their relationship and correlation is to the men in the Bible, which I thought was an interesting take. Very thought-provoking. So it does have the part where it talks about the slave ship and freedom. Another part that kind of is more biblical and talks about, like I said, the women of the Bible in relation to themselves and the men of the Bible. And then a part that's like more tribute to what was going on during the author's time. So like that Aretha Franklin experience. My first poetry collection by her. So good. Next, we have I'm Always So Serious by Charisma Price. I actually won this in a giveaway. And the first thing I noticed is this blurbed by a lot of authors that are like heavy hitters. So we have Terrence Haynes, Morgan Parker, who else? Somebody else I was shocked to see blurbed it. But yeah, she got a lot of people in here. Yeah, Nicole Seeley, Philip B. Williams, Kiese Layman, Malcolm Tariq. This is broken up. Hold on. First of all, the dedication was on point. First, she said, there will be no other words in the world but those our children speak. I like that. And then she quoted Andre 3000, the South got something to say. I like that too. But yeah, this one is broken up into 3 parts. And each, there's multiple poems that in here that are titled, I'm Always So Serious. Every part starts off with a poem title, I'm Always So Serious, but there's other poems in there that have that title too. And I just thought that was a cool way to kind of organize the book. This one has a lot of references to things of my childhood and my upbringing. So I was kind of excited to see those kind of pop reference cultures in there. A lot of things dealing with grief and her father and mama and siblings and just like upbringing in life and kind of dealing with all of that. Like really reconciling grief, like I mentioned, really dealing with the world around you and almost that invasion of a perfect little safety bubble. That's what I really got from this. Some of my favorites are CJ Pete, Magnolia 2004. I like that one a lot. I like Alonzo Jr. recast as this one right here. This one was kind of interesting. I marked that, and I like Can't Afford Sadness in a Time Like This. There was one more I really liked. Oh, that America Asks What's Wrong With You. Those were short and packed a punch, but I feel like was so relevant during this time. I really appreciated it. And one thing I could say about this, as opposed to these 2 that I already mentioned, and maybe even the other ones, is this author really used a lot of like creative freedom when placing the poems on a page. So she played around a lot with style and formatting, as I'll show you here. And I just thought that was cool and fun. And it was a way to keep the reader engaged. I was flipping the page and stuff like that. So I appreciated that. I mean, and that's what poetry is about. It's about freedom. It's about working outside the lines. You don't always have to do what's expected of you. Very much appreciate it and like this. Yeah. Next, this one I've had the longest, but I haven't read it until just now. That is God's Trombones, 7 Negro Sermons in Verse by James Weldon Johnson. I really liked the format of this too. This was blurred by Walter Wright, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Carl Sandburg. James Weldon Johnson was born in the 1870s, and I have a few of his things, but again, I have never read this. This was interesting. He mentioned that the inspiration for this came from him listening to sermons as a little boy. And this is basically 7 different sermons. I really liked the second one the most. No, not Creation, and the one after that. I like the Prodigal Son the most. Yeah, and I actually read a couple of these to my sons because I was just like, I like it. It's so cool. I think I'll share a couple with my mother-in-law too that I think she'll like. But I actually enjoyed this. It was very creative, especially if you have like any... I mean, you can read this if you don't have a church background, but you really do kind of get that sense of that old Southern Baptist church in these poems, like in these sermons that's written in verse. It's actually really cool. Definitely will be recommending this more now that I actually read it and know what it's about. Okay, lastly, this one is the newest one out of all of these. That is The Age of Phyllis by Honore Jeffers. Same author as Outlandish Blues that I mentioned earlier. But this one is new. And this is almost like a tribute to Phyllis Wheatley. And it's really, all of the poems are kind of set around the time of when Phyllis Wheatley would have been alive in that area. And it kind of transports you back there. I enjoyed this. I knew I would. First of all, I'll print this off and put it somewhere. This is just gorgeous. But anyways, I knew I would enjoy it, but I really liked it. Really liked it. I have read Philly Wheatley's poems, like all of her collected writings, and they're very thought-provoking. I've read it years ago. I think I'm due for a reread. But I really liked Fracture a lot. Short, heavy hitting. I liked Mothering number 2 a whole lot. I liked, hold on. Wait. Where is it? Poem Found, Racism. I really like that one. And there's one more that I truly liked. Searching for years but failing to find documentation that Phyllis Wheatley actually gave birth to 3 children who died in infancy or early childhood. I like that. And then at the end, after you finished like the actual poems and the epilogue and everything, there is like a part at the end where the author's just writing about her research and why she was interested in what this whole thing was about. And I always really appreciate that. I thoroughly enjoy this. Like, I knew I would. It looks like you might know you would like something, but when you really get in there and it's like exceeding your expectations, it's just such a good feeling. Such a good feeling. I wanted to hurry up and record this before we left, and that they literally are waiting on me. I thought it was going to take them longer to get ready. But I do have to go now. But I did want to go over these because, like, I spent all morning. I mean, honestly, it's a time management issue. Because I spent all morning reading these. And I had time to record this video all morning. But guess what? I was not recording a video all morning. I decided to wait until I got dressed to leave the house to record this video. At any rate, these are the 5 poetry books that I spent the past couple of days reading and rereading over and over again. One of these was a reread. One was quite new. I enjoy them all. And it's just, if you like poetry and you haven't read these, I suggest you pick 1 or 2 or a few of them up and see what they're about. See if you like them. But I have had people on here say that they just don't like poetry. And I get it. I get it. I know a lot of people like in my real life that really don't like poetry. I understand that. But like some of these, like if you don't like poetry, like I still think you should read Langston Hughes. Even if you just don't like it, there's a few in there you should be able to just read in like 30 seconds. Just flip through and read the ones that's like that, even if you don't like poetry. But if you do, I implore you, check out some of these. They're good. I enjoy poetry. I always have. I get why people don't. But it's something so freeing about reading it, and so vulnerable and personal and relatable, and like so much is left up into interpretation. Don't get me wrong. All I think pieces of written work are up for interpretation. But when I read poetry, it's just like it takes it to another level for me. You bring your own everything to it. And then when you, like I said, you take the time to read it out loud. And I realized that the way that I was like emphasizing words when I was reading it is not the way I was emphasizing them when I was like reading it out loud. Like in my head on the paper is not what was standing out when I decided to read it. Just like how the words flow. It's like two art forms in one. I don't know. So that's it, y'all, for today. Let me know if you read any of these, if you're interested in any of them. Let me know if you don't like poetry. Let me know if you do, and give me some recommendations, because I'm always on the lookout. I'll see y'all on the next one.
Pages turning soft as silk, stories flowing like warm milk. A journey starts with every